I just wanted to start doing some videos on the new builds that we're going to start seeing in 9.2. Shadowlands 9.2 is coming. If you guys have heard about it, one of the biggest things we're getting in 9.2, of course, is double legendaries. Okay, double legendary powers. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the different builds that you can do on different characters. I'm going to start with the Shaman, and we'll do a few videos on the Shaman, just showing the different builds that you can kind of put together. Today we're just going to focus on this one build, and it's the fire build for Enhancement Shaman, which is like super exciting. And I'm going to get to the dummies here, and I'll show you. I'll show you some of how it works. But basic combination, if you guys don't know, for 9.2, we're going to have um, access to Covenant legendaries as well as one normal legendary. So you can equip one of these normal ones here if you want, and then you can also equip either the Kyrian one, Night Fae one, Ventier one, or the Necrolord one. And for Enhancement Shaman, the Necrolord one is kind of useless, but all of the other three are good. Seeds of Rampant Growth for Night Fae is good, the Elemental Conduit for Ventier is good, and the Raging Vortex for Vesper Totem is also really good. So what's the build that I want to look at today? First of all, it's basically the fire build. And we haven't really had this in a while. Like, it hasn't been good for a while, but it's actually good now. And I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about it. So what do you need to make this build work? You need primal lava actuators. This is like the main, this is the core of it. You have to have this first. Um, Obviously, we're going to have access to two legendaries, but this build kind of works right now, even without 9.2. And I'll show you my DPS breakdown in a minute of a dungeon that I did. So this build kind of works now, and it only works because of this legendary. So each time your Flame Shock does damage, um, it increases the damage of your next Lava Lash, and it reduces the cooldown of Lava Lash. So if you guys don't know, Lava Lash in this expansion has a bigger cooldown. It's an 8.6-second cooldown with my haste. I have a lot of haste, almost 40% haste, but let's say it's a 9-second cooldown on average. This, every time your Flame Shock ticks, every time it ticks, it's going to reduce the cooldown of Lava Lash. I'll show you what that looks like really quick. So I put Flame Shock on, and I press Lava Lash. Watch the timer, guys. 8, 7, it's 6, 5, 4, 3. You can see it ticking. It's going faster than it should be going, right? So that's how that works. So that is this legendary in action. So you can see also the buff that I have getting up here. Each time Lava Flame Shock is ticking, it's giving me more damage on my next Lava Lash. It can stack up to 10 times, which is like 100 and anyway, you can see the damage that Lava Lash is going to do. It would do 1700 times 2 because I have Flame Tongue. It does like 3400 damage with that buff. Without the buff, it's obviously fairly insignificant. But that buff is really, really good. So generally speaking, in a dungeon, you want to get as many Flame Shocks out as you can, right? So you Flame Shock and hit this guy and do something. Flame Shock's coming back. Get a second Flame Shock out. Get 2 of them because it makes the damage ramp up quicker. Watch this. We're gonna have 3 Flame Shocks. Look at how quick the counter goes on the. Look at how quick it goes, guys. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the play style. Okay. So you're getting Flame Shocks out, and then you're whacking people with Lava Lash, and your Flame Shocks will bring your Lava Lash cooldown back quicker, which is really, really great. Right? So each time it deals damage, so you're getting more damage, you're getting more cooldown. Fantastic. This build actually works right now with 3 out of the 4 covenants. It actually works fine. It's not like probably the best, but it works fine. But it'll work even better in 9.2, and I'll explain why. There's 2 main builds that I'm thinking of. Basically, I'm just going to get Kyrian out of the way. So if you want to do this fire build, um, and you can just go Kyrian and you'll get more damage. That's all you're really getting. There's not a lot of synergy here. The Kyrian stuff is just a buttload of damage. So you can take the Kyrian legendary, which makes your Vesper Totem do a burst of damage, 5,000 damage. Once I've consumed the 3 charges, so you drop it, and you do damage, and you do damage, and you do damage one more time, and then it does a burst of damage. And you can see it did 23, 24k. Like, it does a lot of damage, okay? But there's no synergies. There's like Mastery with Pelagos, but really um, you'd want to go Mechanicos to get the cooldown. Nothing crazy there, okay? Um, the other 2 covenants do have more synergies. Let me explain it in a second. But first of all, just to make this build work, you want to go Lashing Flames and Hot Hand. This is what you need right here, these 2. and elemental spirits. You do want elemental spirits as well. I'll explain why in a second, but these are the two. This is the core here. So this is like when you apply Flame Shock, if you hit somebody with Lava Lash after you Flame Shock them, so you Flame Shock it and you press Lava Lash, your Flame Shock does double damage. So like this is the mini game that you start playing. You get your Flame Shocks out and you make sure you're hitting those Flame Shocks with Lava Lashes, and you can more quickly than normal because you're reducing the cooldown of your Lava Lash every time your Flame Shock ticks, right? It's this cycle. So the second part of it is Hot Hand. You have a chance to just get the Hot Hand buff, which makes Lava Lash have no cooldown and doubles its damage. And we're already doubling its damage because of our legendary, right? So like not quite doubling, but you see what I'm saying? We have these multiple scalars going up, so it's really good. So this is all you need to make the build work, and then you need elemental spirits to try and get the fire buff. You can get a fire dog that gives you 20% more fire damage, and then your lava lash puts a fire dot, kind of like a fire mage dot. Okay, that's what you need to make the build work. Number two, so you start with this legendary. What are the other two covenants that are really strong? There's Ventier and there's Night Fae, and I'll explain the Night Fae one first. So here's the second legendary you'll be able to equip in 9.2. What it says is when you use Fey Transfusion, you channel it for 6 seconds. It goes boom, 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 boom. It hits 6 times. You don't channel it for 6 seconds, or you channel it for like 2 seconds, but it hits 6 times. It will reduce the cooldown of Feral Spirits by 9 seconds per tick, 9 times 6, 54 seconds. Okay? And it gives you crit chance, which is good. Gives you 24% crit chance. Okay? What does that mean for us? It means that you would start the fight by pressing dogs, and then you would immediately Fey Transfuse, and you would get 54 seconds off of your dogs. I have a fire dog right here. See? I'm getting 20% more fire damage already. Look at that fire dog. Look at him go. So the idea with this version of the build is that you press your dogs, you Fey Transfuse, and then your dogs are like almost back. They have like a 15-second cooldown. And then as soon as they're back, you press them again. And the idea with this version of the fire build is to try and get as many fire dogs as you can. So you're always getting passively this lava lash buff on top of it. Whenever you have Fate Transfusion up, you're gonna get another. You're gonna get to cast your dogs again, basically. Like you'll get that for free. Um, so lots of Feral Spirit uptime, lots of potential to get the Fire Spirit to do extra fire damage. That's all you're looking for there. That's kind of the synergy, and you get a bunch of crit. 24% crit is not too shabby at all. And then you need this conduit. You always need this conduit for this build. 19% more crit chance at all times, basically, is what this says. That'll even go higher. Let's say it's like 20% chance. So 20% crit chance from here, plus the Fey Transfusion legendary gives you another 24% crit. That's 44% crit for free. I only have 20 right now. 19. So that's like 63% crit chance for my Lava Lash. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, guys. So that's that build. It's about the dogs. It's about reducing their cooldown to get more fire dogs to get more damage from your Lava Lash. The other build that's interesting, what I would say, sorry, one last thing about the seed build is it's probably really, really good on single target. Because Fate Transfusion either it does all of its damage to all the enemies that are there, but if there's only one enemy there, it does all of its damage to one enemy. So I think it's probably better in single target because the dogs are good for single target as well. They're just like a little bit better in single target. Like imagine you pop Lust and you throw your dogs down, you do Fate Transfusion, then you beat the boss up for a bit, and then the dogs are back 10 seconds later and you press them again. Like that's a lot of just damage on a boss fight, which is really good. The other build is the Venthier build, which is a chain harvest build, and you have this legendary. Once again, obviously you have this legendary up here, the primal actuators that you're going to have, but on top of it, you're going to have this, and this is really, really cool and crazy for Mythic Plus. Okay, so this basically says if you hit 5 targets with Chain Harvest, you put 5 Flame Shocks out. Each one of those Flame Shocks, guys, is going to tick, and every time they tick, the cooldown of Lava Lash is going to go down because we're wearing this legendary. 0.5 seconds. So like if there's 5 Flame Shocks out, that's 2.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds off of Lava Lash. So like basically what's gonna happen here is you're gonna get into a pack, you're gonna pop Chain Harvest, it's going to put 5 Flame Shocks out, and you're just going to press Lava Lash repeatedly. You're just going to keep pressing Lava Lash over and over and over again, and it's just going to do truckloads of damage. And again, because you have these talent setups, your Lava Lash is going to make you keep tap targeting to the different guys if you can. Sometimes it's hectic, but you like Lava Lash the first one, tap target, Lava Lash the second one, tap target, Lava Lash the third one, and then all your Flame Shocks are ticking and doing more damage. Like they're doing double damage as well. So and hopefully you've got maybe a fire dog out. These are the synergies we're talking about. So in Mythic Plus in particular, the Ventier one is like really strong. First of all, just because it's good AOE, but 5 Flame Shocks is actually a lot of damage. My Flame Shock does about 3,700 damage times 5, right? That's 15,000. That's like 16, 17,000 damage. So on top of Chain Harvest just doing a burst of damage, it also does 17,000 damage worth of Flame Shocks, and then on top of that, you're getting all your procs. You're getting all the cool procs that are going. Okay, so guys, those are like the most powerful ones, and they actually have some synergies built in. Obviously, Night Fae one synergistic with Elemental Spirits, getting extra Fire Dogs. The Chain Harvest one, Venthyr one is just more synergistic with the how the build functions in general, getting those extra Lava Lash procs, reducing the cooldown of Lava Lash really quickly, that kind of stuff, right? Also, the damage ramp of this increases Lava Lash's damage by 12%. If you have 5 Flame Shocks out and they all tick once, that's 12% times 5. That's 60% more damage. Just boom, right away. So it doesn't, you're like, your damage amplification will stack up much more quickly than it would normally. So yeah, those are the main things, guys. If you're looking to do like an enhancement fire build in 9.2, it's very possible that you will be able to do it with this legendary combination. Let me show you a Plagueful 13 that I did. So this is still 9.1.5. We're not in 9.2 yet. This is what the breakdown will look like. Look at the Lava Lash and Flame Shock damage is like through the roof because this is how this functions. This is just with me having one legendary, which is the Primal Lava Actuator. And then I was Curian because it didn't matter. I just wanted more damage, so I took Vesper Totem to get lots more damage. But I could have went either Night Fae or Venthyr. And the baseline of those covenants is fine. But this is what it will look like, guys. Overall, I did 5.6, which is not amazing, but whatever. It was fine for a 13. We crushed this 13. And Lava Lash and Flame Shock are my top damage. So like even ahead of Storm Strike, which is pretty non-traditional. But if you just look at the damage breakdown, Storm Strike does a total of 3,200 damage. Lava Lash right now does a total of 1,600 damage because my offhand has Flame Tongue on it. It doesn't right now because I'm an idiot. But when you have Flame Tongue on your offhand, this doesn't do 874 damage. It does like it'll do 1,700 damage, right? It'll do double. Damage is increased by 100% when your offhand is Flame Tongue. But just watch the damage go up here. If I put a Flame Shock out, watch this. 874, 980, 1084, 1189. Here, let's keep going up. 1290. Let's get a second Flame Shock out. 6 stacks, 7 stacks, 8 stacks. Plus we got a Hot Hand proc. So it stops at 8 stacks. I thought it went to 10. My bad. Anyway, it goes to 8. This now does 3,400 damage.
I must get closer.
A crit, and it did 6,700. Do you see that? Because it has such a high crit chance because of this thing here. So something I want to show you is that Storm Strike does 3,200 damage on its own, but when you get this build rolling, Lava Lash will always be a better button to press. Always. It'll do more damage, and it has a higher crit chance. As you just saw, it did almost 7k damage on its own. Plus, it would have buffed my Flame Shock damage. But anyway, that's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to show you, is that this fire build is very possible. I only have one legendary right now. When the next patch drops and I can get a second legendary, these two will be really fun to mess around with. There's synergies in here for sure, and there's some really great buffs that are between them. So if you guys have been looking to do a fire build, an enhancement fire build, this is it here. This is exactly how it's going to work, and it'll work really well in Mythic Plus. I think it'll also work well in Raid. There's a single target sort of raid scenario here that I think could pump out a lot of damage, and would just be a ton of fun to play. So let me know what you guys think. about this build, and we're gonna keep releasing more videos on different shaman builds, and I'll get into some paladin builds as well in the future. But for now, guys, that's all for me, and we'll see you next time.